America: Brave New World. Rated PG-13. Get tickets now.
I'm a company man. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Spin Rack. This is Mars here. My boys are with me. Kyle, Petey, say what's up, gents.
What's going on?
Ready to rock.
Today we are reviewing one of the top movies of the week. This is Captain America: Brave New World. You see the Falcon Captain America hat right here? We are in love with it. So hey, I'm gonna pass it down to Petey to give us a little breakdown of this movie, and then we'll go into the review and what we like and don't like. Please, no spoilers at the moment. Just straight up vanilla review.
Well, but I think it might be fresher in your mind since you've seen it. Why don't you give it an overview?
We start basically around just the same day, the day after. What the heck? All right, so you want to? I'll break it down to the most.
I'm trusting you more than me.
Okay, I'll break it down to the most basic thing. You know, we have an introduction to a new Captain America. A lot of people don't know that Sam Wilson does become Captain America, and that he is a black Captain America. So I think a lot of people don't see that this actually happened in the comic books. And he had the mantle given to him at the very end of was it Endgame? I believe it was. And we see it also in Falcon Winter Soldier. It continues, and here this is actually a continuation of Falcon and Winter Soldier because parts of the stories continue from there. In addition, is also we get introduced to Thunderbolt Ross, who is our boy Harrison from the Star Wars movie, and this is also a continuation of the Hulk movies. I mean, they bring in a lot of stuff from different movies. They talk about this new Celestial Island, which is the background now for Petey, and Celestial Island they've been able to discover adamantium. The Japanese were able to formulate it somehow or mine it, and
that was a fail. But go ahead.
So yeah, well, we know in the comics. We'll talk about it later, but in the comics, it was developed, I guess, on Earth, not from a celestial. And so the whole thing here is that the president is trying to make the new president is trying to make a treaty governing, how it's used, as opposed to Wakanda, which doesn't want to share their resources.
Here we go.
But we go back to that again. Those bastards in Wakanda, and so he wants to do it with the world. You have Europe, you have Japan, but then someone steals the adamantium, and this is where we start getting Captain America. He looks fantastic using his Falcon wings, going after these terrorists, and we find out terrorists tend to be the Serpent Society. It's another issue with that, but we'll discuss that later.
It's Sidewinder. Sidewinder is the main character in there.
Main character. Yeah. Him and the president have a little bit of attention because he while he respects the president and stuff, he doesn't want to basically follow everything the president says. We also have Isaiah Bradley being brought once again back into the story, and his history of being one of the original Captain America from the Korean War, and then he was put in prison for 30 years. Again, story a lot of people don't know about. It's brought up once again Falcon and Winter Soldier, and now is continuing this here. One thing we have Ross. We bring in, this is really Ross from the what was it? What was the name of that Hulk movie? The one with the Abomination. We have
Incredible Hulk.
From Incredible Hulk. And so you have that coming in here. You have all the main characters, who are in most of the main characters who were in there are back. Of course, the original Hulk in that movie never will show up again. He's cut from Marvel. We have a whole new Hulk, so we don't have to worry about that. Continuing forward. So he's trying to get this pre together, and then we have this dude with bumps on his head, green bumps on his head, aka the leader. They don't call him the leader. I don't know why they call him the leader when you're not
scared to call him the leader.
Well, they can't call him the leader because there's nobody. He's not leading anybody yet. You can't be a leader.
The leader calls himself the leader, and he has
But he has minions. He has minions.
He has androids. He's the leader.
Androids, but you still have to have someone to follow you.
Right? You're second guessing Stan, and
I'm not second guessing.
on that one.
You know what? I bite my tongue. I'm not second guessing Stan. I'm not second guessing Marvel. Our resumes are in. We're going to love this. Whether it makes sense or not. So we continue with the film in that we then have someone tries to kill Isaiah Bradley and 5 others try to kill the president, which precipitates the Europeans, of course, backing out and the Indians backing out from this treaty. Therefore, he has to go to Japan and talk to the Japanese, like, why are you guys backing out? And come to find out they're saying, hey, you guys stole the original.
The whole thing from the beginning was they feel the beginning was just a setup to bring them to the table.
Exactly. And so now he doesn't know who's doing it. And then eventually we find out who does it, and that's basically it, the mystery of who did the mansion, why they're doing it. But it's all, in essence, they're trying to provoke the president to becoming what?
The Red Hulk.
The Red, non-intelligent Hulk. So that's where we stand. There's a lot of stuff to cover. We are going to go into it. They talk about 3 or 4 movies involved. There's even a slight cameo by Bucky, which I have no idea why he's not here. Or probably he realized, like, yo, probably need to be in a movie that's going to be huge. And that's
because he's not in the movie because unfortunately you got this contingent of people who wanted him to be Captain America.
Yeah. So
you can't have, Winter Soldier in there doing all this cool stuff, and then what's the first thing we hear online? See, he should have been Captain America.
He was in the comic books.
Briefly.
Yeah, they both were.
Yes, yeah.
And if we go by the comic books, the first character of the 2 to be Captain America was, you guessed it, Sam Wilson.
Oh, those 2, yes. I thought you were going to say somebody else. But yeah, Sam Wilson has been Captain America longer than Bucky ever was. So let's remember that too. And he doesn't have the blood on his hands that Bucky does. So let's move on from that. Well, I like Bucky as a character.
If you just go by it, I'll say this, and then hopefully we can just let it end here. If you just go by what we have in the films, Bucky is not the right choice because he spent years of having his mind manipulated to the point we're not even sure if somebody shows up and says the right words in order that he might not flip out again. So he's just not the right guy to do this, And then he says he and Steve talked it over, which means Steve is like, look, I'm going to be out of here. I believe that, Sam's the right guy, but I trust your judgment. I want your input on this. So they discussed the whole thing. And Bucky's like, no, Sam is the right person for the guy, for the job. Then, of course, then he had that. They just ate their own narrative when they did the Falcon and Winter Soldier show. Sorry, Sam. We forgot that you were black, cursed from birth. Sorry about that, Sam. So if they had just stuck with that, we wouldn't have a problem.
So with that's definitely we finally gotten that out of the way. With this movie, for me, I'm saying it was okay. I hear a lot of definitely trashing, bringing up Sabra as a bigger issue, and none of that
is so unnecessary,
underwhelming,
and so unfortunate because it shows you just how there's a reason why we have politicians and career politicians, because these people tend to be good at what they do. Mm-hmm. And the majority of the public keeps reminding me how, no, this is the reason why we have elected representatives, because the common guy is just no good at it at the end of the day. They can't separate this stuff. And then they foist it onto the film, they foist it onto every single aspect. And that was very unnecessary in terms of the character, in terms of the actors. Actually, one of the better stories. Do you remember that Hulk story where he first meets Sabra? That was I thought that was a very good story. That was a very good story. And when it never worked.
You're going too far with this because we're not getting that Sabra. Actually,
we're not getting Sabra at all. They decided no.
Yeah, she's probably right.
That's supposed to be Sabra. That's supposed to be.
She's in the costume and like she's got a big coat over so you can't really see anything. And then she did turn her into like a generic Black Widow.
Yep.
No, shorter. A lot shorter than that one. And
isn't she taller?
No.
Isn't she taller? Isn't she like, what is it? What's Scarlett Johansson? 5'2"?
You're saying that's if Scarlett Johansson is as big as a thumb, then this chick can't be any more over 5'3". Like I wouldn't imagine that. Now you're gonna lead me to say something wrong. If you look at Liv Tyler, that is closer to Sabra. No, I'm not doing it.
To be like at least model size. I mean, look, especially they're saying Sabra is now part of the Red Room, right? Every incarnation of the Red Room I've seen, they've all been tall or model like. I'm trying to say.
All right.
This one doesn't come close. Doesn't come close to rating that way, and
they're both coming in at petite. Scarlett Johansson, 5'3". Sabra actress, what's her name? Shira Haas, 5'2".
I think they're being generous. I think they're being generous.
If it is, it doesn't come out that way. She doesn't look that way.
She's 5'2", but she also looks very tiny, very slim
Yes.
at the end of the day. So that
Very
also makes her look smaller, even if she is the same height.
Yeah, I get the smaller stuff, and but look, getting back to the whole.
Wait. Let me get through. Let me get through. Right. Now, I like this movie. There was definitely some issues. Starting out trying to show you how skilled Cap is. Look, at the same time, put Falcon America in the dark blue outfit, not in the light bright white outfit. Not that one, because that one is too colorful. Just regular, seemingly like Cap. I don't like the wings, but they get him to do a bunch of Iron Man stuff in the wings to help out.
You don't like the change? You don't like the change in color they made for the outfit in the film?
What? I don't know. The later, not the beginning.
He went from the white. He went from the white and the red to the red and the blue.
But the thing is, I'm saying in the early part, it's mostly him in the white outfit. I'm like, this outfit was terrible. And what's the name? And at some point, one fight, he takes off the shades. He takes off the Black Lightning shades. Why do the brothers always have to have? No one asked that. Why do you got to have shades on in these things? It's like a secret identity. But he takes it off with no. Oh, I'm fighting. I'm taking off these shades.
I won't say it. It'll just get us in trouble. I won't say it.
Okay, and then the other thing is that
he did the shades before. He didn't do the shades now. In this movie, he had the helmet, didn't he? That disappears.
No, this helmet happens later. The helmet when he's flying and he's fighting with the celestial background. He puts on the helmet, and for the Hulk fight, he puts on the helmet so he can do some hypersonic stuff. But let's go to the bigger issue. What's it? Leah Taylor from Captain America is now a government agent. A Black Power character in the comics is now a government agent. What a 180! And they're like, this is the Falcon's girlfriend. And
isn't that what happened? Isn't that what happened in real life though? Everybody was militant, and then they got government jobs.
She didn't get. She was just a regular girlfriend. She went from militant to being she was the wedge between Cap and the Falcon. And he's like, oh, and Cap is looking out, outside on the fire escape, trying to see if Falcon's going to come out. And Leah's closing the door coming in, and he's like, oh, I might be losing my partner. And the next thing you know, they started double dating. So, but it's just like, is that her? Is that the Falcon's girlfriend? So that was one of the things. I mean, I was okay. I think they could have played more with the Manchurian Candidate stuff, which of course they did with the Hulk and what's not. But at the same time, that whole background and maybe playing up maybe the history of it and saying, hey, when they were complaining about it, that you have a history of this stuff happening. I'll say with the leader, Todd McFarlane wins again. Because they went for the Todd McFarlane look of it. They kind of took what Todd McFarlane did. They didn't go big Jiffy Pop, but they had similar. When you look from the background of this head, they kind of had more of that feel. The leader is just, the original one was just a larger head, right? He just had a larger head, and what's the name went for the brain. What's the name? Todd McFarlane went more for the brain type of thing. So now it's kind of a warp kind of brain effect. So I would say Todd McFarlane won with his thing. I didn't get enough Liv Tyler. She comes at the end for your nice moment. And I don't think I think they could have taken out Sabra and put in Agent. I know Agent Carter's in Mad Rapport or something like that, but they could have put Sharon Carter in here and do more. So she was in the other thing. For some reason they do this, and I wasn't, I'm not too keen on Isaiah, that character as much, but at the same time, Isaiah Bradley, but at the same time, when he was in jail and he had the Flavor Flav hair, like you remember when Flavor Flav in the Night of the Living Basshead, his hair was standing up, I'm like, all right, come on, guys, like this hair that he's got is ridiculous, and he's like, I'm not going back to prison, and if the movie people like, if someone came out and didn't see the show, like, what is he talking about? Was he in prison? I'm not going back. I can't do it. Solitary confinement. I can't do it. Okay, I'm walking in it now. So, yeah, I think otherwise, they did try to set up, the human quality of him. Human being, he could be hurt. Like they were playing that up, him getting injured and saying him. I don't think him comparing himself to Cap kind of was that strong. But I'll say I probably have some more bits, But I'll say Harrison Ford was a better president than he was in Air Force One. His acting was a lot better. I did not like Air Force One at all, and him as president in this one, they have a Thunderbolt Ross moment in the beginning when they show a flashback with Harrison with a mustache. But then when they get through it, his performance as a president was pretty good. But at the same time, I think people who are not in the know, they come into this movie saying, because I was at a dinner and I was like, person was trying to describe Captain America, Brave New World, and she was like saying, the movie with Harrison Ford and the guy with and she was doing hand motions for the Falcon, the wings, and this stuff, and she couldn't get Anthony Mackie's name out of her mouth. So it's like I worry about people coming in there saying, we came for this, and they might stay for Anthony Mackie, but at the same time, it's just that sort of thing of establishing him as Cap. But I don't know if a Falcon movie would be a big blockbuster, so they're going for the big name, not Falcon and Winter Soldier type of thing. They're going for the big name that's going to supposedly get them the big bucks. But you don't need Sabra. We need more Liv Tyler, because I really liked her in the original, the Incredible Hulk movie. And I was iffy on the Falcon also, but they gave us a moment where, we would worry about him. I wasn't too worried about him even after that, but, they gave us a moment. And I didn't, they had to do the Bucky scene because, Bucky was in the Falcon and Winter Soldier. So people say, well, what happened to Bucky? So he shows up. But yeah, they put him in the blue outfit. They should have done that at the end of the other one. Put him in the blue outfit for the entire movie. They added some gadgets, but I didn't say it. The actual, this is the thing, this is going to pass it back to Mars, right? So this is the thing of the Hulk, the Red Hulk not being the Red Hulk from the comic books, right? And I think going for a tortured Red Hulk rather than the Mary Sue Red Hulk worked for me. I liked that he was the tortured Hulk, that he was kind of pushed to it and kind of tricked into it, and he becomes the Hulk, and he's just a monster, and that's where we got the battle. Now, that's why I say I was okay with it, because it was a classic Marvel David versus Goliath, and not a David that, like Spider-Man would be stronger and be able to take out this Red Hulk. He has to do all the tricks that he's been given to even try to stay alive, and even then, he doesn't actually win. So to do like a classic David and Goliath type of deal to deal with this Hulk, and I kind of was okay with it. I kind of totally disliked the Red Hulk. I pass it to Mars to represent the Jeff Loeb Red Hulk. So what do you have to say, sir?
I mean, look, the Hulk that I've read is an intelligent Hulk. At least he can talk. He's uninhibited. He can, he's supposed to be. He's a military leader as General Ross, but you don't get that. It's just pure anger. This is just a Hulk incarnate, but red, right? And I think this is what also confuses people. Now we have this new Hulk, but it really is the Hulk again, but just not as good. He can get cut. He can bleed. I just didn't feel that. This movie went all the way. If it's like, why bring in another Hulk who's crazy and mad just because you want a bad Hulk, right? That's what you really want. You wanted a bad Hulk that you can control. And this is where it goes with the end of the film, where, I thought that they made so many references, and it may be possible that they've changed things around, because they said that they had a lot of reshoots. And Peter, I know you always say they always have a lot of reshoots, but they shown different characters in the movie that they totally took out. There were other characters in the Serpent Society that were taken out, and they decided to go with Giancarlo Esposito, which is a bigger deal in terms of what they were going to do. But getting back to this, it's like they thought the original story was a little bit too convoluted, so they tried to simplify it, and they may have lost some things in it in doing so. And with the Red Hulk, I think it would have been an excellent opportunity to say, yeah, he's red. Because what did they say in the movie? Oh, I thought they were supposed to be green. You're right. The leader is green.
They were going to gag.
And yet, you have She-Hulk is green. All these people are green.
That only comes from
explain why he's red. Is he red only because he's General Ross?
No, there was a TV bit when the TV people were doing the Hulk, that he's anger. Why isn't he red? And they had to talk them out of it to do green. So That was
But I'm just,
then of course anything that was a gag or something that wasn't unused in the 2000 became used.
yeah, I know. So it's just to me very just weird, and I think it leaves a spot open as to what's going on with the Hulk. Continuing. Now let's
So
get back to Isaiah.
no,
Sorry.
let's say with this before that. So I'm gonna go to Cal. Be like, I mean, would you want the Red Hulk immortalized on film? Would you rather have the Red Hulk that's smarter than everybody, stronger than everybody?
But
And
from the comic? No,
yeah,
no way. This is an improvement. This is an improvement at the end of the day. I I mean, I was surprised that Thunderbolt Ross became president. That wasn't something that that I understood from the trailers. I was like, huh? And then he's president. Oh, okay, he's president. But of course, Harrison Ford was president. So hey, why not? Let's just do something right on the nose, right? Why not? Why not? But the way that they have the Red Hulk presented here, no, I thought that was. I think that's a better usage of his character than what we got in the Red Hulk series.
so Mars, you want to go back to Isaiah Bradley?
Yeah. Well, I mean, Isaiah Bradley, this storyline was taken care of back in the movie, in the Falcon and Winter Soldier, right?
Yeah.
And so they brought it back in again here. And I think it, especially when he's established himself as Cap. I think we need to go retread that whole storyline once again of what happened. And I think it made him feel, we could have done a different Captain America movie. I think there would have been a bit much more. Just because I guess the goal was that they wanted to make it like a spy investigation type of movie, so it's dark and stuff. I think it should have gone a little lighter overall, not quite as dark as it is. That's my take on it. I think the movie supposedly is made $88 million this weekend. Probably that Disney's claiming it's going to make about $100 million for a whole weekend, which is good. It's not the top of the top of the Marvel, but I think it's a good for a start out, and it's definitely more than Captain America: The First Avenger when he first started off too. So I mean, I think we have to just give him some time to get situated and to do well. I definitely loved the way he looked. I love both the white and the blue outfit. It didn't bother me either way. I like Torres, who was becoming the Falcon. I thought we saw too little from at the very end when he got hurt and he was laid up. I thought he was going to get the super soldier serum or something to enhance his powers. I mean, probably doesn't happen until he gets caught by someone else in the comics. But I thought this was the way they were going to go about it. I also thought it was pretty interesting that they kept on saying that he had the option to take the super soldier serum. I never realized he did have that option. I don't know if you guys remember anything like that before.
No, I don't remember it.
Yeah. And Bucky has to come and tell him, "Nah, you're you for you who you are." But he's getting his butt whooped by
Sidewinder?
no, the Red Hulk, not Sidewinder. But the fact of the matter is, you can't go up against the Hulk as a regular human being. Even with the Wakandan technology, there's a limit to how much you can do. But this guy will pound you to death.
All right. So
I don't know about a limit. There's nothing you can do.
Oh, now we got to deal with you're trying to escape the black stuff in this movie.
I'm not trying to escape the black stuff. I'm just saying.
I'm going to talk. I'm saying we're going to talk about the black
we did
stuff
it already in Falcon and Winter Soldier.
No, we need to talk about the Hennessy in the limo. He said he got the good stuff. He didn't. Wasn't that Hennessy?
I have no idea what it was.
I think it was Hennessy. He said we got some of the good stuff in the limo when they had all of them with Isaiah Bradley and the Falcon were in the things. I think that was it. And then Sidewinder and the Falcon or in the Captain America fighting and running around cars. They're getting chased around the cars. They're like, remember when you're kids and you're playing tag and you're running around the cars? It's like, yo, are they trying to make a statement here? Like, you can't get me. No. But it wasn't. It was definitely a visual scene. But I was thinking overtones of that. Those are only two bits I had. So anyway, but what was there? Was there something else for me? Okay. We do have to talk about. You have, near war conditions, right, at this land back here, and it was a
Celestial Island.
Celestial Island, right? So the Japanese are like, screw you, President. We're going in. We're not no treaty. We're just getting our stuff. And then, Thunderbolt Ross goes back to Thunderbolt Ross. He's no more president. He's like, I'm an acting military president. They can't have it. We're going out there. So he immediately goes out there. We have a military situation here, right? And then the American soldiers' minds have been taken over, and then there are attacking the Japanese, and they hit some of the Japanese air freighters and that sort of things. And then the Falcon and the Captain America and the Falcon come to help, and they're trying to stop this stuff, but at the same time, they're saying, don't shoot at the Americans, because the Falcon and Captain America and the Falcon are trying to save the day. That's not how military works. We go to the failsafe movie. If you hit their tankers supposedly by mistake, you have to say, well, you got to take some shots at us. We want a balance of power. I didn't like the fact that he just said, oh no, we're just going to take out all the Japanese things. If they get hit by American soldiers, you're going to have to pay. You're going to have to do some sign of thing of saying, hey, you hit our Japanese things. You got to let us at least tag something. We can't come out of here and say, oh well, Falcon and Winter Soldier saved the day.
I think they can work something out with it.
They got to work a lot more hand to man.
They don't have to blow up our stuff too. But the question, when I saw that scene, I was like, is Japanese Navy really going to be an issue with us?
Oh, well, at least we got that sort of statement.
I'm trying to say, I was like, if you said, the Indian Navy and the French and the Japanese are going to go there and try to secure the island, now I can see, okay, something's going on right here because you got 3 different navies. Mm-hmm. But the Japanese, there was never anything.
Wow.
Like, Japanese, you start fighting the Japanese, so what? They're our allies, First of all, we're way bigger than them. How long will they actually last? So, to me, it just wasn't like, and the whole thing with Celestial Island, they definitely, look, one thing I got to say with the movie, there was a lot that they had to cover, and they decided to throw everything in the kitchen sink in here. They had to wrap up the Falcon and Winter Soldier with the Isaiah Bradley story, and the making of the new Captain America. They had to bring in the whole thing about Celestial, talking about the Celestial and what's happening with Celestial.
Did they have to? They
talked about the blip. I'm just saying they brought a lot of stuff.
Did they have to bring in that stuff up? Do we have to talk about the blip?
I think they wanted to wrap up a lot of things. They want to move forward from what happened in the past and say,
they've been talking about the blip the entire time. They haven't stopped talking about the blip.
But now it's done. Now they move on, right?
Now, they have moved on from the Eternals. We don't need this. They can create adamantium, which was what happened. The person created it. I think later.
But here, it's being mined from this island.
Yeah, come on. They're trying to say you didn't waste your money on the Eternals.
Well, they have to. I mean, come on, you can't. What they should say: the Eternals all die after Galactus comes through, or something like that. That's what I was.
You gotta go. That's a multiverse conundrum. Somehow they get killed in the past, and it reverberates to the future to get rid of them.
They're robots, so it don't matter.
Yeah, that doesn't makes it even worse.
Androids. Androids.
They are eternal because they are androids.
What android isn't eternal?
An android is a humanoid robot or artificial being, often made from a flesh-like material. A frigging robot. Okay, again, so it doesn't matter. So
androids.
These robots, who cares if they die or not? You know what I'm trying to say?
That's, I think, most people feel, especially what they showed us. So I think they didn't need to do any of this. It's just a great visual. They have a great visual. It didn't make a great movie. So since they have a great visual, they have a great backdrop. And then they can throw in, give the Japanese adamantium, and somehow a young Wolverine will get the skeleton, the convoluted thing that they came up with for Wolverine to get a skeleton that it was stolen from Japan. But at the same time it was stolen, there was also a process where they fused it. It's like, what? No. They don't need to be Japan to get the Wolverine stuff in here.
Well, it's kind of interesting with the adamantium. The very fact that I like the fact that they had all these nations supposedly involved and they're doing this treaty, because adamantium, I think there are a lot of different heroes and villains who have adamantium. You have Wolverine has adamantium. Silver Samurai has adamantium, right? Isn't that an adamantium armor?
I don't think so. No, I don't think so.
I could have sworn he was one of the ones who had adamantium.
We got a special sword.
Adamantium. Adamantium. Thank you.
Excuse me, Professor.
You're welcome.
Adamantium. Silver.
Ooh, there's a what's it, Constrictor? I think he has adamantium, and then there's some wacky Wolverine villains like Cyber who has adamantium skin.
Yeah, his entire armor was made out of adamantium. Adamantium. You know? So yeah. So it's pretty interesting that you have, and I guess that goes back. I think the Japanese were one of the first ones who were using it. So, having that
somehow you have it in Canada, and then it's the tie into all the Japanese nonsense.
No, I think they stole it. The Japanese, I think, developed. They stole, and then they stole it, and then they brought it over to Weapon X.
Whatever. No, that's a later thing to tie in all of how he's all connected to Japanese nonsense.
And also the whole Super Soldier Serum. The whole
Canada can't have adamantium. Okay, that's what we're doing here.
I mean, Canada's a state. Of course, they can have adamantium.
Good Lord.
One state or 10 states? I don't know.
Is there anything else with this?
One thing that I wanted to also touch base on is, the whole thing that the White House has been destroyed again. I mean, at this rate, in another movie,
you mean a separate movie outside of this? It was done in the Marvel? It wasn't in the Marvel, right?
I don't. They destroyed New York a couple of times. I don't think
about like 2012?
2012. I mean, man, it's just like when I see them destroy like Statue of Liberty and Empire State Building, it's like, come on, man, I gotta move out of New York. That's the first thing I think of, right? It's like, come on, man, how many more times are we gonna destroy the doggone place? And in the White House, I mean, how many times are you gonna blow that place up?
But then you say no. That's the thing for the audience to be like, oh no.
Is that the goal, to make us say no? To say
they have the emotion of it when you see, like, well,
it's making me emotional. I'll tell you that. It makes me emotional. Like, yo, dude, stop it, man.
Is there anything else with this? I think that's it, right? So, do they do more? That's the question. Do they do more Captain America with Sam Wilson? Will they do more? Okay.
Yes.
Well, he's developing the Avengers.
If you only do this one film, which I have to admit I enjoyed, if they only do one film with Sam Wilson, Anthony Mackie and Sam Wilson, you are cementing the fact that it can only work with Steve Rogers. Even though I want Steve Rogers back. Yeah. That's Captain America for me. But you're saying that this only works with this particular character, and I don't necessarily think that's a good thing, and it's not fair to the storyline that happened in the comics one and to the directions that they're doing here. In order to make a good go of it, and I think this is a reasonably good start. Agree or disagree, that's fine, but I think this is a reasonably good start. But you have to continue this and show yes, because for me, just like as an in-story type of guy, you're saying that Steve Rogers chose incorrectly when he decided that Sam Wilson was the right person for the job to continue on as Captain America. This is just going to be a one and done thing, and we don't second guess and we don't countermand, Steve Rogers' judgment. He's Captain America. He knows better than we do when it comes down to these things. So you do a good job with this, that's fine. And then if the torch gets handed to somebody else, or if these guys finally get what they want, oh yeah, we want Bucky. Okay, whatever. But the commitment has to be there to say, no, we want to tell 2-3 good stories. I would say 3 good stories with Sam Wilson at the helm. Okay, if only to be fair to the decision that we made. Otherwise, why did you make this decision? You should have just held on to Chris Evans or just recast it to Steve Rogers as hard as you could have.
Yeah, and I guess what? Because Tony Stark passed and Cap got old, they retired the Avengers?
Yeah.
Is that what's supposedly happened at Endgame? We say all of our stuff has been solved, we can end now?
Well, I thought they did this with the second Avengers movie, where it was sort of like, okay, we're going to pass the torch from this group to this group, but the linchpin was Captain America. And now it's like, okay, we're going to shift to an entirely different group, but they did such a bad bit of mess with the television shows, and they just lost a lot of ground, I suppose, in getting that one up to speed. So you need Cap. But we're supposed to get like a whole bunch of other new people as well. I don't know who those people are going to be. I don't know if we're going to have Red Hulk on the team or anything. But it's obvious that they want this to be something very similar to, I think, what happened with the Avengers, in the original comics, where we can have this rotating lineup and it's going to work. But in order to have a rotating lineup that's going to work, one, you have to do it, and two, you have to execute it well.
I mean, but then I think that's an interesting point, Kyle. But isn't it they just basically Thunderbolts is what, a Dark Avengers team, right? In essence, so we're getting that first.
You have a Dark Avengers team. You have you literally have a team called Dark Avengers.
No, but I'm just saying I don't think they're going to change. I don't think they're going to use the Dark Avengers name. I think the Thunderbolts is going to be something similar, where these guys are like they're not the heroes that we're used to. These are going to be the guys who have a little bit more dirt and stain on their.
Well, they're villains. That's the idea of the Thunderbolts, is that this is this team, but it's made up of villains or former villains. So they kept that, where everybody on the team, I believe, is a former villain, with the exception of the new entry of the Sentry, and that's supposed to give them their superpower, backup that they need, so they can take on some of these challenges. Because you just can't see them. Hey, it's Galactus, and we got to be defended by who? These guys? We're in a lot of trouble. But otherwise, the hook to the Thunderbolts were that they were former villains. And instead of them being the masters of evil, actually, originally they were the masters of evil. They were trying to pull off they were trying to pull off a scheme where they would become the superhero team. People would, of course, get familiarized with them, and then they would be able to, execute this master plan. I forget what it was. I forget at this point. But then they would be able to do this in order to, world domination is usually what they were trying to do. So this one isn't necessarily that, because there's been more than one iteration of the Thunderbolts, but they have tried to keep that same motif of these were former villains. So you have the Winter Soldier, Yelena Belova rather, who's this? Ghost, and Red Guardian. All of these guys who are former villains or adversaries. And now they're working together as being collected by Contessa Allegra de Valfontaine, and they're supposed to be this good guy team, because, as she says, the Avengers aren't around anymore.
Exactly. So, I mean, to me, it just seems that the Avengers being brought together is going to be an interesting thing. I know they were talking about Young Avengers, they were talking about Dark Avengers, they were talking about now Thunderbolts, and Thunderbolts is the movie that they're going for. But who could possibly be in the Avengers going forward? I mean, Chris Evans is still in the. Well, so we'll talk about that later. We're digressing, but I did enjoy the movie overall. I thought that Sam Wilson was extremely convincing. Joaquin Torres was funny. I thought Harrison Ford was great, as Thunderbolt Ross. Some people didn't like the way he is, but I thought he did a pretty good job. Isaiah Bradley played his role. Sabra, I wish could have been a little bit more interesting. Taylor could have been a little bit more interesting. I mean, when he says, "Hey, I have an inside scoop with somebody in the White House," I was like, "Oh, it's probably somebody hidden that he." No, it's her. She's a president's security person. It's like, what big surprise is that? Come on, give me a break. You know what I'm trying to say?
Well, that, and then Sidewinder. Sidewinder was just, they had a good action scene and a good, an okay opening scene. But then, he comes back, which I was happy that he did come back, but they could have done a lot more with him. And, this is this is a bit of when Marvel was about to do the Serpent Society, which might be the whole Manchurian Candidate stuff which was
Manchurian Candidate.
But the Serpent Society, was a bunch of people, so it doesn't seem they called him Serpent. So I mean, it sounded like, are there more of them, or is just him? But
I think in the original incarnation it had Cobra and somebody else from the Serpent Society in it, right?
Yeah.
They
Civil War because of DC.
We'll see. But hey, if you like what you see, give us a thumbs up, comment, subscribe, spin a rack.
We're
out.